I'll never forget a morning in Benin where a family arrived at the center in the state of an absolute chaos. They were from a nearby village. They were convinced that their brother, a healthy man in his 30s, had been killed by a spiritual arrow sent by a jealous neighbor. They were already planning a retaliation. The tension was so thick, you could feel it in the air. They brought samples to us because they wanted a proof for the police, alright? But in their hearts, they already had a culprit. They kept saying he was just eating, then he slumped. This is not ordinary. He was just eating and he slumped and what is all this thing? We get people, we get this, we get that. Get that kind of thing. So we took the samples into the lab, my colleagues and I. We began the screening. We didn't just look for arrows or juju. We looked for molecules. After hours of testing, the machine printed a result that changed everything. It wasn't a spirit. It was an organophosphate. How do I mean? This is a very common and deadly pesticide used in farming. The man hadn't been cursed. He had stored his drinking water in an old container that once held powerful chemicals for his cocoa farm. He had slowly been poisoning himself for weeks until his nervous system finally gave up. When we explained this to the family, the anger vanished. It was replaced by deep, quiet sadness. The neighbor they were about to attack was innocent. And the spirit was a dirty plastic bottle. You see? In our culture, we are very quick to look for who before we understand the what. Forensic science is the only thing that can stop an innocent person from being punished for a spiritual crime that was actually a chemical accident. You get me? Science is not just an enemy of tradition. Science is not an enemy of tradition. It is the protector of justice. Before you point fingers or blame the village people for a sudden death, ask for a toxicology report. Most mysteries have a chemical name and a molecular weight. We must stop letting superstition lead us into making wrong conclusions. Today, you should know that knowledge is the only shield against false accusations. Alright? Now, let's go into what we have for today. ADME. Very interesting. Have you ever wondered why some drugs take 30 minutes to work while others hit you in seconds? Or why a poison found in the stomach might not be the thing that actually died a person? Today we are talking about the travel map of a toxin. In the lab we call it ADME. Absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. Alright? First is absorption. If someone swallows a poison, it must pass from the stomach into the blood. If the person dies too quickly, we might find the whole pill in the stomach. This tells us why the death was acute, which is fast. Second is distribution. Once in the blood, these toxins look for a home. Some love the brain, while others hide in the body fat. The third is metabolism. The liver is a hero. It tries to shield the poison, to neutralize it, to make it harmless. We look for the metabolites, the shielded up pieces in the lab. If we find the shielded version, we know the person lived for a while after taking the drug. And the final one is excretion. This is how the body throws out the trash through the kidneys. Now, what went wrong? What went wrong? The biggest mistake people make is thinking that a drug in the stomach is proof of poisoning. It is not. A drug can only take a life once it is absorbed and distributed to a vital organ like the heart. If I find a massive amount of poison in your stomach but none in your blood, it might mean you died of something else before the poison could even start working. This is where many unlearned investigators get it wrong. Do you understand? They see a bottle of sniper next to a body and assume it was the cause. But the ADME science might prove the person was already dead from a stroke before the chemical touched their lips. Alright? So,
with our eyes.
Understanding ADME is like being a detective who follows footprints. If the footprints don't reach the house, which is the blood, the crime didn't happen the way you think. My advice as a pharmacy student, my advice for my fellow students is to master the mechanism of how potassium ion and chloride ion move through cell membranes. This is the key to knowing how toxins stop the heart from functioning. Additionally, do you know that some drugs stay in your hair for months, even after they have left your blood? Your hair is like a biological CCTV camera that records your ADME history. The body never lies, even when the heart stops beating.